talking to some people today about, they were talking about how they can't believe some of these Trump people are apparently completely incapable of noticing that, hey, when you fucking rile up a crowd, and these are people that have been riled up, you know, little by little by little by little for a long time anyway, and then you fucking fire them up in person in front of the crowd, and then be like, hey, go do this, and then they go do that. Yeah, that's the motherfuckers that set them off right there. That's their fault. Sure, the people have responsibility for what they did, but it's not like they did it just out of thin air on their own, you know, all together like that. There's a long history of what built up to that shit at the Capitol. And some of the people are like, I just can't understand how these Trump fans just can't grasp that. Oh, that's why it's so hot in here. I'm retarded. And I was like, listen, I've seen so much shit before where people are just criminally goddamn stupid. And it doesn't matter what information you show them, they just stay deep in denial. Like, when have you seen this before? I was like, well, I watched it with Hillary. And some of them immediately got defensive. It's like, hey, look, you're doing it right now. I just said Hillary. And they're like, what's wrong with Hillary? I was like, well, me personally, I don't like how she is with war and shit. It drives me crazy. How eager she is to just invade places for really stupid ass reasons. I guess maybe oil's not a stupid ass reason to some people, but to me, that's a pretty stupid ass reason. So, and they're like, well, what? And I was like, well, I would say, like, I didn't like her. They would tell me I'm just, you know, falling for Russian propaganda, first of all. And I was like, the Russians have a time machine, and they went back to the 90s and made her say a bunch of shit that made me notice her to begin with, not like her. And they without me even being able to say, the people I would say that to before would be like, well, what are you talking about? They said, the two guys said, what are you talking about? And I was like, Doma. She was fucking on TV all the time talking about Doma. Well, not all the time. There was a good week there where she was going on and on about it a lot. And they're like, she was the first lady. I was like, yeah, the first lady's champion shit all the time. Was it Obama? What's her name? Michelle Obama had a workout thing. I think Bush, GW's wife, I think she had a workout thing too. No, I think GW was a No Child Left Behind. And his old lady went around, you know, doing the TV tour. And that's what Hillary did for Doma. She was on talk shows and shit talking about it. And they're like, so? I was like, well, I was watching her on TV talking about how we had to protect the sanctity of marriage from these horrible homosexuals. Like, she didn't really say it like that, but that's what she was saying. Can't let gay people get married because it'll fuck up marriage. Like, why? Who gives a fuck? They love each other, let them get married and do the legal bullshit to be married and commit to each other legally. Why? Who cares? Let it happen. I thought she was a piece of shit from back then. And there's like, no. Like, see? Same shit. And then talking about the, now, see, I do have her side. I take her side. I take Hillary's side on Benghazi. And that was the Republicans' fault. How do you say that? Well, because the way you're supposed to do it, to do what needed to be done there, is go through congressional panels to get the approval. And they got shot down every time they tried to increase security out there. And those are Republican-led panels. So that's where the fault lies for that. They knew that shit was coming. They tried to do something about it. were not allowed to. So they had to work with what they had. And then that whole made-up story about the airfield, it's not like made up, but the reasoning was made up, and the people who gave the commands was made up. Like, you're not going to abandon a fucking airfield to go save a consulate and give up the airfield, dumbasses. That's militarily retarded. So that's why that happened. So they saved the people that were there to protect the airfield and move people in to protect the consulate, or all defend the consulate, whatever. It's too late because it was already under attack. And that takes time to make happen. It took several hours to get them there. But I didn't like that she was a corporate whore. I'll never trust anyone that does a speaking engagement, and they speak in front of a crowd and get paid over $100,000, $250,000. I'll never trust that shit, ever. Give a fuck who it is. That's dirty as fuck. That suggests she makes that much every single day. Or at least that much just for the time it would take her to go do it. She doesn't make that much a year. 250,000 times 2 or 3 times however many days there are in a year, 356. 365? 24/7, 365. 365. That's how I remember that. I'm retarded, okay? But it didn't matter. And a lot of the shit that she said, she was against gay marriage all the way up until 2014, 2013. And she was pretty anti-LGBT while she was Secretary of State. She was on record in interviews talking with helping some other countries deal with their LGBTQ problem while she was Secretary of State. She wanted to go into a ground war with Iran and Syria. Secretary of State, and thankfully Obama told her to fuck off. Not doing it. Even though Obama did, rightfully, he did multiply the bombs dropped everywhere from Bush by like 10 times or whatever. And then Trump multiplied that number by several times. But that's another story. So no, I never liked her. And it didn't matter. She's pro-LGBT. It didn't matter what you show. And then the whole email things. It showed that they fucked over Bernie. It showed that, like, intentionally they cheated. And then when DWS, Debbie Wasserman Schultz or whatever her name is, when she got outed from those emails getting leaked, and she got kicked off the DNC the same day, not even like close to it, like the same day. They didn't even try and hide it. They immediately hired onto the Hillary campaign. Immediately. It's like, dude, you got caught red-handed with your pants down, on camera, straight up, and you just ran with it. Didn't even try to hide it. Didn't even pretend like, no, that didn't happen. That's bullshit. So, speaking of emails, she'd say shit like, you gotta have your private views and your public views. Or was it private face? I think it was private face and public face. I think it was face was the word she used. Your private stance and your public stance. So no shit, she's been publicly fucking anti-LGBT all this time. Actively, not just verbally. Like, she's actively done shit. She's had actions. Helping a country set up fucking laws and shit and procedures is active. It's not words. And it doesn't matter. None of the video I'd show people None of the video I'd show people. I had video, there's emails, there's fucking, documents, real shit, actual things she said that went directly, multiple, not just one or two, repeated things. I had a video, and then one of the things she did when she ran in 2016, she had this thing called Correct the Record. That's what it was called. The group was called Correct the Record. And no, they didn't correct anything. They whitewashed the fucking internet. I even got a fucking cease and desist from these motherfuckers. I got a cease and desist at the end of 2015 because I had an old blog from I want to say 2000, a posting from 2009, 2010, something like that. What's this bus doing, man? And it had a video posted of Hillary back from the 90s. It was a montage of all of her DOMA shit. And I got a cease and desist, take that shit down. And I was like, okay. I didn't even try and fight it because I don't know if it was real. I don't know. I know the cease and desist was real, but I don't know if it was the extent that they claimed it was. Like, if you take it down, you'll be fine. But if you don't, then, because it was a montage. It was a bunch of clips for a bunch of different networks. And they're like, you'll have to pay this, and this to all these networks and blah, blah, blah. And you'll have legal trouble, like multiple cases over one clip. And I was like, I'll just delete the post. I don't give a fuck. I'll delete the clip and the posts. Fuck it. And I just walked away. I thought it was a little weird. I really didn't worry that much about it because I thought Bernie was going to beat her that time. For sure. Because nobody liked her. A lot of the Democrats that were talking about voting for her didn't like her. But they didn't think Bernie could win. They liked Bernie, but they didn't think Bernie could win. So we tried to talk like, hey man, just vote for Bernie in the primaries. And then when the primaries happened and we found out it was rigged anyway, they didn't even give him a chance. It's like they cheated. They fucking straight up changed numbers, shredded whole pallets of ballots, and they got caught red-handed doing it. Like proof. There was fucking proof taken to a court case. And the judge wouldn't even fucking see the case. Because he said the Democrats don't even have to hold a primary. So it doesn't matter. And they threw it out. Goddamn liberal left-leaning Snopes even confirmed that is true. Goddamn. So that's it. It's crazy. You show all this, and I got called just none of the shit that I would tell them. It didn't matter what video or anything, what I had. No, and I used to have folders in my bookmarks bar, just like a folder with pull down menu, and then that pull down menu had a bunch of other folders with topics, and had links up the ass to like documents and emails and videos. And fucking reports with more videos and documents and just crazies. I was pretty fucking organized trying to fucking plead my cases and fucking arguments, and it didn't matter. I was spending 5 and 10 minutes just pulling out shit, and they'd be like, "No, that's bullshit." Like I would post it, and like 2 seconds later, like a 3-minute video, 2 seconds later, "No, it's bullshit," and then they'd find some reason to say it's bullshit. And then they call me a fucking Russian troll and block me. It's like, what the fuck, man? Like, I wish I was getting paid for this shit. I'm not even trolling. This is for real. So what are you going to do? What can you do? You can't do anything against that level of crazy. And that's what the Trump people are doing right now. That's why people get mad when I point that out, too. It's like the Hillary fanatics were just as crazy as the Trump fanatics. They got this idolized version of someone that's not even close to reality. At least the Hillary people, she has a vagina. Oh boy. That didn't work for Tulsi. She's amazing. She should have got in there. She'd be fucking a million times better than Hillary. But nope. The funny thing is, if you held a gun to my head in 2016, I voted for Jill Stein. It would have been cool if she would have won. I think she would have done better than Hillary or Trump, easy. But if you would have held a gun to my head and said, you have to pick, raise your left hand for Hillary, your right hand for Trump, I would have voted for Trump. Even knowing all this shit. He fucked up the country pretty goddamn good domestically. And I don't, all these fucking, well, the unemployment's so low. Like, the unemployment's so low is because they changed rules and booted off a whole bunch of people, made millions of people ineligible for unemployment. So, yeah, the numbers did go down because if people aren't getting any fucking money from it, they're not going to goddamn sign up for it, are they? Like, why are you going to waste a bunch of time doing all the paperwork and shit when you're not getting any money? Like, nobody's doing that shit. So that's why unemployment numbers are down. The Dow Jones is up. The Dow Jones is up, and especially right now, the only reason the Dow's been up for the last several years is because the Fed's been pumping trillions and trillions of dollars into it. So, and even CNBC yells about that shit. Like, what the fuck's going on? There's so much Fed money in the Dow. Like, are they trying to fucking take over businesses? Like, what's going to happen? That money's going to be owed. It's not just money that comes out of nowhere. They owe that money back. That fucking money is fucking... there's a fucking interest rate on that money. So what's going to happen? They can't pay all that shit back. So... sorry. The economy wasn't awesome under Trump. The indicators that he pointed out look good because they were manipulated, which is the case for a lot of shit. Like, we know, we could tangibly see shit was getting better under Obama because every so often because like, okay, when the shit crashed in 2008 under Bush, there was, for like 2 years, there was shit that was under construction that all of a sudden there's no fucking money for that. All the fucking money dried up everywhere. And then when everything was getting rebooted and getting back on track, suddenly there was a fuckload of fucking roads projects getting finished. A bunch of new ones started that were done in like 6 to 10 months. That's infrastructure. That shit you fucking need. But whatever. And they kind of had to anyway, because like bridges were collapsing and shit. I don't remember what year that one in Minneapolis was, but that was an eye opener. And I had hope. I don't really like Obama. I don't like Obama either. There's no I don't really at all. I don't like Obama either. I voted for him both times because I would never vote a religious fanatic into a president spot. Never in my life. Even though Romney's been against Trump, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make me any more comfortable with him. And I never trusted McCain. I didn't trust McCain when I moved here to Arizona. The dude was nuts. And he should be. If you go through that shit in your life, you're gonna be nuts. And it's funny. Fucking, he was fucking a right-wing nutball when he was a candidate for president. And then after, like, halfway through Trump, was it Trump or Obama? The right was turning on even McCain because Ted Cruz and them pushed the party so much. Ted Cruz and them pushed the party so much further right that McCain was like, it was in the center with the rest of the Democrats. The Democrats have shifted right too. And there's all these people calling them lefties and socialists and shit. It's like, dude, maybe compared to you psychos, but compared to fucking actual leftists and progressives, the Democrats are a long ways right of me. Progressives don't want fucking war and goddamn insane taxes and fucking corporates just funnels of money shoveled into their face. The Democrats and Republicans are a lot alike when it comes to anything related to corporations, war, for-profit prisons. And then they got us all fighting with each other over dumb shit like abortion. I'm sorry, but that's dumb compared to the big picture. It's fucked up. It shouldn't be banned for sure. But they got us fighting over that shit. Gay marriage too. Anything social like that. Stupid petty shit. That really if the rich people don't give a fuck about it, it's not an issue. And it doesn't hurt their wallets at all, so they don't give a fuck. They got the government owned on whatever they want. Want to ruin this lake and river and fuck everybody's drinking water downstream? Have at it. You want to switch from this clean water here and go to this fucked up water because it will save you 70% of your money, and then you're going to charge the consumers the same amount, even though it's going to poison them, Flint, Michigan, and everybody up in that area? Yeah, go for it. We don't give a fuck. It makes money. That's big shit. That's fucking foundational shit right there. All of it. And Republicans and Democrats are both fucked when it comes to that shit. All that huge foundational shit. War, shoveling money to the corporations, laws for freedom for everybody, not just Republicans, Democrats, everybody. They both do it. They both do a lot of it. Meanwhile, we're down here fucking around in the grass, arguing about dumb shit. It's ultimately doesn't matter. If none of that other shit's good, then it doesn't matter about the rest. If you can't afford to eat or where you live, you have no fucking job security because they can fire you for no reason. All these things, these make corporations super happy. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about any of us. They're sad. And we're arguing about dumb shit. That's why I don't have any friends. I'm crazy. I really like that Lexus a lot. It's depressing. I depressed myself. It's okay. So, fuck your mom, fuck your dad, fuck all y'all, fuck your faces, all that shit.